Hello and welcome to the channel. In this video we are going to seed this area of the lawn using the Yarbo as much as possible. So let's see how well the Yarbo does at these tasks. Let's get started.
Down in the dirt. Been real bad.
All right, so the area that we're going to seed goes back down there to the equipment up to here. Then we're going to seed and overseed this area inside these sidewalks here. We're not going to worry about this too much right around this landscape bed. Eventually there's going to be mulch put there. We're also going to put mulch down around these self-watering garden tubs as soon as this grass gets up and growing. So let's start off and go through the equipment that I'm using and how the Yarbo could also use a lot of this equipment. So first off, in this area here, the water is supposed to run off towards the street and into storm drains that are on the street. This area has always been a low spot. In other words, we'd always get a pond here instead of the water running off. And one of the reasons why is out there at the end of the road, that was all built up, and it was about 4 to 6 inches higher than what it is now. In addition, around this house here, there's been some construction going on for the last year or two. So in the front of the house and along the side here, this is always tore up with equipment. So we finally got this house to the point where I'm not going to have any construction equipment in, so we're going to seed it. I used this tractor to dig that area over across the top there. And then on the back of it, can you see it? I used this tractor to dig off that 4 to 6 inches out front, and then I used the land plane to level the property back here. The land plane does a really good job of grading and so on and so forth. Besides the dirt that I peeled off the front there, the 4 to 6 inches, I brought in a dump truck load of black dirt, and I used the loader tractor to put that into this area here. Once I got it fairly leveled out, I then used the land plane to make this all nice and level and ready for the Yarbo to do some work. So now that it's all level, the first step that I'm going to do is the area out front there where there is still some grass that we're going to overseed. I'm going to use this mower to mow that as close as possible to the ground. You could use the Yarbo to mow that short, but in this particular case, this actually was a house here about 10 years ago, and there's still a lot of rock and just junk in the yard, stuff that I haven't managed to get picked out of it yet. So I'm going to use this commercial mower here to scalp those areas. Again, you could use the Yarbo to do that if you know the lawn is clean, because it'll cut down to 1 inch.
I try not to be loud. He only recording.
That's the problem with trying to do videos, is for some reason everybody shows up.
Right. I see you talking like, all right, ain't gonna slam it down. I'm about to be like.
That's my neighbor Kiki, by the way. Yes, I am recording. Okay. So, all right, so once I get that mowed, then I'm going to put some fertilizer down before we loosen the rest of this soil up. I've been putting seed down like this for years, since the 80s. And one of the things that I found out is that if you use the starter fertilizer that they tell you for starting the lawns, there's a little bit too much nitrogen in that. And you'll end up that the stalks of the grass will end up being thin because it's trying to grow so fast. So I will use a starter fertilizer later on when the grass has germinated and gotten up to about, an inch and a half to 2 inches tall. But for right now, I'm going to just use a straight 13-13-13 garden fertilizer. It's similar to Milorganite. Milorganite isn't quite as strong, but this will help the seed to sprout, but not give it so much of a push that the grass gets weak. So I'm going to use my Chapin fertilizer spreader for this. This fertilizer spreader is designed to do fertilizer, grass seed, and salt. It won't corrode like some of the other brands. So I've had this about 10 years. After I get the fertilizer spread, then I'm going to use this dethatcher with some weights, about 80 pounds of weight, and the Yarbo to loosen this all up here. So we'll go back and forth over top of this area enough to get this all nice and loose. Once we get that done, then we'll put the grass seed on. I could use the fertilizer spreader to put it on, but I like to be as even as possible. So I'm going to use an electric hand spreader. By the way, the tractor my brother-in-law owns, I own the land plane. I bought this X-Mark, probably 6-8 years ago. It's the commercial model. It's got the commercial deck underneath it. I bought this Chapin a while back too. This AgriFab dethatcher Yarbo bought for this video. Yarbo also bought that over there, which I'll talk to you about in a little bit. So we'll use the Yarbo to pull the spreader and the dethatcher around. When we get that all loosened up and done, then we'll spread the grass seed on. I'm going to use a combination of a quick starting blend. It has perennial rye and fescue in it. And then I have an older bag I had last year of Scott's thicker lawn. I'll also throw that in there and use this up. But primarily I'm looking for a good grass when I'm done here, a nice fescue lawn. So we'll use this. Once that's done, once I have that spread on, I'm going to use the Yarbo again to put the seed into the ground. So you can use a rake, hand rake that in, or you can use something. Mainly, you only want the grass seed touching the ground and in maybe 1/4 of an inch at the most. So one of the best things to use is a doormat. This doormat is made out of old rubber tires, so the edges, it's got edges on it a little bit, so it does a real good job of working that soil and getting that grass in, but it doesn't go so deep that you have problems with germination. Next, after that's in, then I'm going to use this AgriFab 24-inch roller to pack everything down, get the seed firmly into the ground. Yarbo also bought this for me, and I specifically requested the 24-inch because it's just about the same width as the Yarbo, and filled with water, it weighs about 250 pounds. The Yarbo is good for pulling. It'll pull a 3,500 pound car on concrete, but for working in dirt and stuff like this, they recommend that you limit it to about 300 pounds. So filled with water, this is about 250. So it's going to be a perfect match for the Yarbo. After we get it packed down, I'm going to start watering and get the soil moist so the lawn can germinate. And then I'm going to put this, it's actually hay. I'm going to put this hay spread over top of it to hold the moisture in. Most of the time people say use straw. This particular hay bales here, it was mowed with a bush hog. So the pieces are only about 6 or 8 inches long. And so it's going to mat down real nice on top of this once I get it on. And lastly, I live in an area that has quite a bit of foot traffic. This is an older part of town, and people like to walk between the houses here. So I will put some security tape up just so people can, so people don't want to walk through this, especially since it'll be wet and maybe a little muddy as I'm waiting for this to germinate. And we'll use the ox cart over there behind the Yarbo to move these bales of hay around. I have the smart module laying here. The smart module works good if you want to do tow me mode or follow me mode. But Yarbo currently does not have a way to do patterns in the tow mode. You still have to use the joystick or the controller to it. So I'm going to try something. I'm going to map this out with the mower module on it, and then I'm going to use the Yarbo with the mower module on to go around and use these and pull these things through here. Why do I think this is going to work well? Well, first off, it's going to set up about a 21-inch pattern, which is good for the dethatcher. I'll get a little bit of overlap. It'll be good for the spreader because I'll set it light enough so that it can go back over the same area 3 or 4 times without getting too much fertilizer on. And then for the doormat and the lawn roller, those are basically the same width as the Yarbo, so it should work real well. Yes, the mower deck will be turned on, but one of the advantages of these autonomous mowers is the blades underneath the mower deck don't have lift to them. In other words, they're just designed to cut the grass off. And that works really well when you're mowing the lawns the way you should be with your autonomous. You should be going out there every 3-4 days and mowing about 3/4 of an inch off, that type of stuff. The grass will spring back up, and by the middle of the summer, you're going to have a really nice, lush-looking lawn. The advantage for us here is with no lift on those blades, it's not going to create any dust either. So I'll just set them for 4 inches and don't have to worry about them. All right, any questions so far? This is going to be fun. So first off, I'm going to grab that X mark and mow all this stuff down as short as I can. I'll probably let it dry. I'll probably let that grass dry a little bit and then get it off of the lawn so we don't have it messing the dethatcher when we go in and loosen everything up. And then while I'm waiting for that grass to dry, I'll go ahead and map the Yarbo to this area that we're going to be working. All right, I got it all mapped out. I got that extra grass blown off the top. Now we're going to fertilize. Right now the Yarbo is sitting at the dock, and I think I'm going to start it there, the way you'd normally start a lawn mow, and then let it move up here to the area that we're going to work. I'll pause it, hook up the spreader, and then see how it does. Okay, let me get this up and running here. Here she comes around, and it should go right here between my steps and the my bales of hay. Let's let her get in here. I'm gonna let it come around just a little bit more here, and I'm gonna pause it. Okay, so I'll go ahead and hook that up and put the fertilizer in, and we'll get rolling. All right, as you can see, it's doing a pretty good job. Let's see if it gets around my camera. Yep, she's gonna do just fine. So you can see about how much it's putting down. And it's going through that fertilizer just right. All right, it's not the Yarbo's fault. It's my spreader's fault. So there's a 40-pound weight that I put in there. Let's see how that works. Okay, this is easier than holding the button, but not painless. So every time it wants to do a zero turn, it wants to bind up here. So, just can't go out and let it run by itself, but it seems to be doing what I want it to do. I think I'll grab a lawn chair and babysit it. What do you think? Is this too much work? To me, it's still a lot easier than having to keep my fingers on the controllers all the time. So, the fertilizer is spread, and now I'm going to use the dethatcher to loosen this all up and get it ready to put the seed down. I'm going to try this a little bit differently than with the fertilizer spreader. I'm going to try using the autonomous mode again. In other words, have the mower module on it and see if it'll do it itself. I had problems with the fertilizer spreader itself binding up. In other words, the Yarbo wanted to back up and it would get caught in the tracks. So what I'm doing this time is I raise this hitch up. So the hitch itself should be above the tracks. It should be level enough to, yeah, let me move this ahead just a little bit. Yeah, let's throw the weights on, see what she does. All right, so that's 80 pounds of weight that we put on there. See if the Yarbo will pull it. Oh yeah, no problem at all. So, let's go back to the yard. That's what I was afraid of.
You being too low and catching up?
That's too much weight. Too much weight. We might have to take one off. It's better. Yeah, she's not, it's not slipping now. It wants to come all the way around to there. Okay, well, you know what? It's not binding up the way it did with the fertilizer spreader, so. Yes, and it's long. Yeah, I think we're gonna give it a try. Sounds like there's a piece of paper stuck in the mower blades. So she's making a little noise, but we'll worry about that later. Well, it's just about done. And instead of having it mess around with these little small corners, I'm going to go ahead and pause the program and just go to manual. So put it in high. And this ground right here is really hard, so even with only one weight on it, it is having a little traction issues. But you know, you kind of expect that. So let's turn around here and finish this up. Kept getting errors here, and I'm looking at the map, and you can see it here. See all the red spots? I have a feeling that it's been so dusty that the vision system is all dirty. So I'm going to take my hose and lightly spray this down and see if that helps. And I'm not going to spray it real strong. We'll just do a light spraying. Get these cameras cleaned off. Get the side ones clean. Get some of the mud off of it. Pretty dusty. All right, so let's see if this clears things up. Let's resume it. Yes, I am. Rain detected. Okay. That's not what I wanted. Stop. Well, that was actually fun. I rinsed it off, which cleared up the sight problems, but then it thought it rained. So it wanted to go back to the dock and recharge. So I let it get over there. I took the blow dryer, or took the leaf back and dried it all off, and Now it looks like we're back ready to go again. So let's see. Does she know what she's going to do? Yes. Yes, all the detection problems have disappeared. So if it's really dusty out and you get a lot of dust on it, then the vision systems are going to get dirty and you'll have to clean them. Otherwise, it'll keep seeing problems, seeing obstacles to go around. So nice to know. We're getting smarter with this thing all the time, aren't we? All right, I'm going to let it run through one more time without any weights on it, just to kind of level things off a little bit, loosen up just a little bit more. There are quite a few rocks that it has picked up. Like I said, this is an old, used to be a house here, so there's really a lot of debris in this dirt, more than I thought I was going to have. So as soon as I get through with this, I'm going to pick up rocks. Then we'll start spreading. So while the Yarbo is doing its thing, I'm just going to pick up rocks. This reminds me of farming out in central Iowa. The glacial drift, every year rocks grow out of the ground because of it. So well, a little recap. I had a little problems with the fertilizer spreader. Number one, my old fertilizer spreader was a little sticky, so I had a hard time getting traction with it, but we got that figured out eventually. The biggest problem I had was using the Yarbo in mowing mode, so it was working autonomously. It tried to make a lot of sharp turns as it went around the corners, and the hitch would get bound up in the treads. But we got it done, and everything looked good at that point. I put the dethatcher on the back of it. If you saw in the video, I put a bolt in and raised it up with a couple nuts, and that seemed to work very well with the dethatcher. Even though the machine wanted to make some sharp turns, it still cleared everything, so it didn't have any issues. I did start out with 80 pounds on the AgriFab dethatcher, but that was too much weight for the Yarbo. So took 40 pounds off, and then it did a good job of tearing up this real hard, dry ground. So after I used the 40-pound weight, I went over it one more time without any weight on it, just to kind of even things out a little bit. And so right now I've got a real nice fine seed bed. It's all loosened down about 1/2 inch, which is exactly what I want. So from here on out, I'm going to use the Yarbo in follow mode. And I got it set up so that as soon as it sees me, it'll start moving. So I'm going to put grass seed down. And this is a This lawn's going to get a little traffic, so I'm going to use a combination of fescue and perennial rye, and then I have a little annual rye in here just to help thicken this up until the fescue and the perennial rye can get going. I could use a spreader to put this on, but I want to do it, make a nice even layer. I'm a little stickler about putting grass seed down. So I bought this off of Amazon. It works with my Milwaukee batteries. You can buy this on Amazon. I'm not even going to leave you the link, but you can buy this on Amazon with either your DeWalt or your Makita, or I think even a Ryobi battery. So I like this a lot better than the other brands that are out there. The other brands, the batteries don't last very long. So I've got it adjusted where I think I need it to be. So we'll just get started. This does have an adjustment for how wide you want it to spread. So you'll see me messing with that a little bit. My goal for putting seed down, this type of seed, is if I throw a couple quarters out here on the seed bed, when I'm done, I want about 3 or 4 seeds on that quarter. So that's how thick that I plant it. All right, so see what we got. And it is a little windy today. I got at least a 5 to 8 mile an hour wind. So I'm gonna seed it with the wind so that way everything will be nice and even. I think I'm gonna open this up just a notch. And I do it in sections so I can keep track of what's going on. All right, I don't know which is the easiest to show you here. There, it's in the sunlight. That's what I call a good seeding for me. Let's run and put it here let's put it in the shade. You may be able to see a little better. And I have about 5 pounds of seed left, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it on here. Seed all spread out. My next step is to cover the seed. And like I said at the beginning, I have an old doormat that's made out of car tires, and it works just perfect for covering this seed up. And I've been using stuff like this for since the 80s. Still one of the best ways to do it. I'm looking to just cover the seed up and have it in the ground no more than 1/4 of an inch. So this is just perfect. Instead of using the mower module and do this autonomously, I'd like to be a lot more smooth with my turning so I don't dig into the ground with the Yarbo because this is all loose dirt. So I'm going to use the controller, the hand controller this time. So off we go. In fact, if you see, I'm going all the way out of the area And I'll turn around there. And I'm going to overlap a little bit. Come on here, I can't drive this thing with the controller. That's funny. All right, I'm not going to bore you with doing this all. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And when I'm done, I'll let you take a look at it, and then we'll do the rolling. All right, 3 steps left. Next step is to roll this and pack it down. Then I'm going to put some straw on it to protect it, so when I put moisture on, the moisture holds better. And then the last step is to sprinkle it. So, did you know that AgriFab made a 24-inch lawn roller? Well, they do. It comes with a convertible handle. You can either push it yourself or you can hook it up to your tractor or your Yarbo. So, full of water, it weighs about 250 pounds. So that's just the right size for the Yarbo. They say max about 300 pounds if you're pulling stuff through the dirt like this. So yeah, let's give her a try. See how it works. I'm not setting this up on a pattern using the mowing module. I'm going to use the controller for this again. I want to run it off of the seed area and turn it around so I don't dig into the dirt. So off we go. Come on. I don't get along with this controller that well, but that's because I don't play video games, right? Nothing wrong with the Yarbo or the controller, it's just me. I'll be honest with you, this would not pull a 42 or 48-inch lawn roller on dirt like this if it was full of water. It's just too heavy. I think on grass where it has a little better traction, it probably will. I see part of my problem is that lawn roller has enough friction when it wants to turn that the Yarbo wants to pull it. It wants to pull the Yarbo in a different direction. So yeah, can't say it can't be done. We're doing it just fine. Just a little practice. And you can see it packs this down nice and firm. So once I start putting water on it, it'll do really well. One thing I wanted to say is the Yarbo has plenty of power to pull this, and it does have enough traction. It just has a little problems turning that wide flat drum, turning it around. So like I say, this 24 inch is just the perfect size for this thing. I'm getting a little more used to it now. Here we go. I can make some turns now. There we go. Yeah, and I'm sitting down here doing this. Isn't that cool? If you want a multi-purpose machine and you don't want a riding lawnmower, which are all junk nowadays, by the way, you know that, this Yarbo is a good choice. So continuing on, Yarbo is supposed to, or they tell us that they're working on a tow mode that you can set up autonomously, just like your lawn mowing or snow blowing, and you can vary the width of your path. So for example, like 24 inches for this, 42 inches for the dethatcher, 42 or 48 inches for a yard sweeper, and it'll automatically do that. One thing I'd like to see Yarbo do is make it so it makes good turns without having to back up and make the turn. I've noticed that with the smart turns and with the zero turns, when you're making and there I got confused. So the biggest aggravation that I had, and there she's trying to pull up a hill so it won't go exactly straight because of that, because of the lawn roller, not because of the Yarbo. When I had the mower connected to it and trying to use it autonomously, I could not get the Yarbo to make a smooth, even turn. So the smart turn, it always backs up. It does it as a Y. That's just normal. But even with the zero turn, it tried to stay as you're going around the corner. It kept backing up, and that would get the tongue caught in the fertilizer spreader or the dethatcher. So that's kind of why I am not using that right now anymore. I'm just using the controller. I could use the app. I actually like the app a lot better, but the app, my finger dries out when I'm doing stuff like this, and this controller works the best for this type of stuff. So, understand what I'm trying to say? I hope so. So I guess my sales pitch is you can buy this to mow lawn or do snow and stuff like that, and it can do other things. You can hook up and do tows, all that type of stuff. I think over the next 2 years, you're going to see the software really improve on this for like towing mode. I can't wait for that. And when that happens, move this around. And when this happens, this is going to be very, very useful all around your yard. So I have a lot of guys that want to use it commercially already. I've had at least a dozen people just in the area here talk to me about it. We did take and put it on a slope a couple days ago before I started this, and the Yarbo could handle the slope, but it was so rough. It had brush on it and stuff like that, and the mower just couldn't handle all those little tiny stumps and all that. So I think it'll handle just about any degree that you want, as long as your lawn is what you're trying to mow is in good shape. The grass was actually about a foot tall, and it would go through it. It didn't cut it right the first time because there's no lift on these blades, but I think with 2 or 3 passes it would knock it down. So, and this guy has 40 acres of stuff to mow. The guy who was wanting to try it out on the hills. Yeah, that's what it is. You don't push down on the controller, it only goes a couple miles an hour. And robins love it when you're working in the dirt. I got a pair here that's been helping me all morning long. Make sure they get them bugs out of this stuff. All right, I've done enough talking. And when I'm done with this, I'll show you the process of putting the straw down, and we'll go from there. Now, Shayna, you can use this as a rake to drag it around. That'll work easier. I'm not playing. Yep.
Okay, spread it all over right where you're at.
Nice
Behind you, nice and
thick. Yes. So this is going to be watered twice a day for about an hour each time. And I think no, because they're going to move it at least 2 times to get it. So, all right, get it, Dale. And have fun. The fun part is right now, because these bales doing this stuff, and these bales probably 4 pounds, they're about 8 ounces. Yep. Well, here's an update 7 days later. Everything has sprouted very well. We're getting a nice green growth to it. Looks like everything held. One of the big advantages of putting this hay down was I only had to water every other day instead of 2 or 3 times a day if I wouldn't have put that down. So the grass is pushing up through it just fine. This is going to really look nice in another 2-3 weeks. So it was worth it. A lot of work putting it down, a lot of different steps. The Yarbo did a good job. It's not perfect, but if that's all you got, you can work with it. You can use it to do tasks like this. So dethatching, pulling a cart, pulling a lawn roller, even pulling a spreader if you got one better than the one I have. So yeah, okay. If you like this video, please like it. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Down in the dirt. Been real bad.